A deadly dose at the center of the investigation into the death of Elijah McLean.
It was too much for his weight.
Denver 7 investigates, going deeper on the newly released autopsy report, opening a new debate over who's responsible.
Was that reckless based on everything they were confronted with? Or was that criminal negligence?
Newly obtained video showing the horrifying moment a woman under arrest in a cruiser that's hit by a train. A lawsuit emerging, asking how police can explain this.
She was yelling, she was trying to escape.
And bike lanes coming to South Broadway. Concerned riders say it can't come soon enough.
Our best, least unsafe option is to ride in the bus lane, because at that point getting hit by a bus is less scary than being hit by everyone else.
But first, here on Denver 7 News on Local 3, we start with the newly released amended autopsy report for Elijah McLean. Now, with an official cause of death, the forensic pathology consultant who signed off on the report is saying, quote, "I believe that Mr. McLean would most likely be alive but for the administration of ketamine." That report comes 3 years after the original report listed the cause of death as undetermined.
Now with the updated cause as a heavy dose of ketamine being administered, Denver 7 investigative reporter Jennifer Kovaleski is taking an in-depth look at what the report means for the case and what stands out to legal experts.
Well, first of all, this new autopsy will be a critical piece of evidence moving forward. Some of the big changes were with ketamine. The report now says McLean would most likely be alive if he wasn't injected with the sedative. But it also found no evidence the officers who detained him played a role in his death. And legal experts we talked to say the changes could actually help their defense.
Favor, stop right there.
Elijah McLean was just a young man on his way home from a convenience store when someone called 911 saying he looked sketchy and was wearing a ski mask.
Stop. I have a right to stop you because you're being suspicious. Stop. Relax. Stop. I'm going home.
Aurora police officers put him in a carotid hold.
So when the ambulance gets here, we're going to go ahead and give him some ketamine.
Minutes later, paramedics inject him with the powerful sedative ketamine. His death would spark outrage across the country. Those voices would help lead a grand jury to indict 3 Aurora police officers and 2 paramedics. And at the center is now this amended autopsy report. McLean's original autopsy ruled his death undetermined. In the amended autopsy just made public, the coroner changed the cause of death to complications of ketamine administered following forcible restraint. But the pathologist wrote in the new opinion that he has seen no evidence that injuries inflicted by the police contributed to death. And while it now acknowledges paramedics gave McLean too much ketamine for his weight, and he did overdose, the amount was still within therapeutic ranges.
I think that these reports certainly help the police officers, if not exonerate the police officers, but I think they also help the paramedics that are charged in this case. They're not giving him too much, but it was too much for him.
Mitch Morrissey's a veteran prosecutor and a former Denver district attorney.
That's where this kind of changes from something that helped the prosecutor to seriously hurting the prosecutor.
He says the amended autopsy likely helped the prosecution get a grand jury to indict because they only needed to prove probable cause, but believes the new autopsy could become a problem for prosecutors at trial.
I think they're going to have real problems then getting to the beyond a reasonable doubt hurdle, and that's where these documents become a weapon for the defense.
Morrissey says he thinks this will come down to a battle of medical experts at trial. We did reach out to Elijah McLean's mom, Shanine McLean. Her attorney told us they are not commenting. I'm Denver 7 investigative reporter Jennifer Kovaleski.
Thank you, Jennifer. And you may remember that there was controversy around the original report because Aurora police reportedly met with the coroner before it was released. It's important to note for Elijah McLean's autopsy, the coroner who signed off on the cause of death is not a medical doctor. She is an elected official. But the one who signed the opinion, otherwise known as the autopsy report, is a forensic pathology consultant. The Denver7.com digital team has put together a timeline of Elijah McLean's case, and you can head to our website right now and scroll through the entire autopsy report.
Several Adams 12 schools on high alert today after an attempted kidnapping outside of a Thornton school. Take a look at these images of the man we'll show you in a second. Police say tried to grab of a 10-year-old student just before school started its STEM launch. The child was able to get away and that man took off. In response this afternoon, STEM launch and nearby Federal Heights and Hillcrest Elementaries all required parents to pick up their children in person. As police searched the area this morning, some parents immediately pulled their children out of class.
No parent, wants to hear about their child being almost abducted, especially by a school where, they're supposed to be safe and where we put our trust, in the staff and everything else to keep them safe.
Police are asking anyone who knows anything to call Metro Denver Crime Stoppers.
Dramatic police body camera footage released Friday showing the moments a freight train collided into a Platteville police cruiser with a 20-year-old woman in the back seat. There's so many questions about this. Why was the squad vehicle parked on the train tracks? And why didn't officers react quick enough to get the woman out? Now, this happened last Friday after police detained Yureni Rios Gonzalez in connection to a road rage incident. In edited video released by police today, the train horns can be heard just a minute after Rios Gonzalez is placed in the squad's back seat. Over the next 15 seconds, the horns become louder and louder before officers finally react. By then, it's too late. The train slams into the car, leaving Rios Gonzalez seriously injured. Her attorney tells Denver 7 that she saw the train and tried to alert police. He's questioning why it took them so long to react.
The most alarming thing for me is that you can hear the train coming. And it's at nighttime and the train has lights also. So you can both hear and see the train coming.
Disturbing video. Rios Gonzalez remains in the hospital. Her attorney says they are planning to sue Platteville police. We've reached out to the department looking for answers, and so far we've gotten no response.
U.S. stocks fell sharply Friday, falling to the lowest level since November of 2020. The Dow Jones dipped below the 30,000 mark, entering bear territory. The S&P 500 remained in bear territory, and today marked the fourth day of losses in a row for NASDAQ. The oil market also feeling the brunt of recession fears. Crude fell today, tumbling below $80 per barrel, a low we've not seen since January. This means gas prices will also go down, but signals that investors are concerned about the way the U.S. economy is heading.
Broadband internet has been blocked for years in Lone Tree.
A lot of telecom companies don't see significant investment as a good return.
The decision now up to voters to close the digital divide.
People need these kind of infrastructure improvements.
A $100 million spacecraft is getting ready to smash into an asteroid. What we know about NASA's mission, on track for impact.
Back to the 80s today, I see a lot more of them coming up in the 7-day.